What's going on, guys? Just got home from work not long ago. I got a couple things that I wanted to do this afternoon. First off is change the transmission fluid in the Husqvarna. So got the oil here. We're gonna do that. I've got made up a little tiny paper funnel, which not sure if it's gonna work or not, so I don't have to take off the skid plate. But if it works, it works. If not, it's probably gonna make a big mess. So I've got the drain pan here. We're gonna get started on that. After that, I want to try to make a little license plate bracket that's actually going to go back on the Husqvarna under the tail light here, so I can mount my plate on it. So hopefully we can get to that. If not, we'll pick it up another day. All right, thanks, guys. This will work out. Not, it's gonna go everywhere, so let's hope it does. And it's actually working not too bad. Some of it's coming out the bottom, but most of it, just about all of it hit the pan, which is actually rare for me. Usually I make a giant mess. I forgot to take the plug out of the drain plug out of the pan, of course. So, looks pretty kind of murky. Can't remember how many hours it's been since I've changed it in this, but definitely got a little bit of a strange color to it. And I hope my pan isn't too full. It probably is. It's my luck. Alright, we're gonna let that sit there and drain a minute. Hopefully get everything out of the bottom end. It's real cold, so it's probably gonna take a few minutes. Alright, we'll pick back up in a minute. Alright, so we got all the oil drained out, and there's definitely some sediment going on down in the bottom end of the 300. You can also see by the drain plug there's some fuzzy stuff going on top of the magnetic part of it. So definitely we're beating on the clutch a little bit the last couple times we rode, so I'm sure it's alright. I've definitely seen a lot worse. So we're gonna clean up the plug, get the pan out of here, and go ahead and fill it back up. Tech tip, always have at least a 1 foot extension on your ratchet at all time. Also helps if it's a wobble. How you doing? Alright, now we're ready to fill it up. Of course I can't remember how much it takes, so I'm gonna have to look it up. Well, I just remembered that the reason I didn't use this oil last time was that I actually bought the wrong oil. But we're going to go ahead and put it in there. I don't really feel like I want to get some more. Calls for 15W50, 10W40 is close enough. We're going to go with it. Alright, calls for 0.8 liters. Where's milliliters? Milliliter, cc, the same. It's 800, so I gotta do 500 and then 300. Of course, my thing's not big enough. And I'm measuring on an angle. There's 500. I'll put the cap on between because I know I'm gonna drop it and spill it all over the ground. What are the chances I can get all of this in there without making a giant mess? So far, I've been pretty lucky today. Haven't made much of a mess. Usually it's not that way. That was really disturbingly loose. It's about to fall off there, of course. So one thing about two-strokes, everything rattles loose. Early on, I had to replace the kickstand on this bike because the little screw that holds the bottom spring wobbled loose and stripped all the threads out from inside the kickstand itself. And I initially tried to tap it and put a bigger screw in, but with the way they have their little sleeve and everything else in there, that it just wasn't working right. So I ended up having to buckle down and buy a whole new kickstand, which sucked because they don't make a whole lot of aftermarket ones for the newer bikes. They just have the old ones. So I had to buy an OEM, which is outrageous. Thank you, Husqvarna, for making your crap extremely expensive. And I'm looking for a funnel, and I can't find one. Story of my life. I walk in circles all day, cannot find anything in my garage, even though I just cleaned up. I still can't find anything. And here's one that looks like I was funneling mud. So give me 1 minute, I'll get this cleaned up and we'll fill her back up. Now get the last 300. So, just getting the bike ready this week because me and my buddy Travis are actually going out to Hammer Run in New Jersey this coming weekend. So I'm going to be taking the 300 just because it's a little bit faster paced. I didn't really want to take the KDX or the 400. The suspension, that's just old on those, and I've just been beat up. I think it's about 100 miles, and I haven't been before, he's been, but my understanding is there's some little more high-speed whoops. It's kind of fast, open, flowy trails, and there's like a little bit of road riding, but I plan on keeping it mostly on the dirt. So wanted to get everything squared away and ready early this week, so I'm not rushing last minute. All right, got the oil in there, put the cap back on, clean it off a little bit. One thing that I cannot stand that the European companies do that the Japanese bikes did much better is instead of putting a sight window or a dipstick or anything, you have to pull the dumb plug back jammed in there behind the brake, the rear brake, to check the oil. And whatever reason, it never seems right. You let it drain completely, you put exactly what it calls for, you measure it, and it always coming out the hole. So I always try to stand it up level, Maybe that's not right, not the right way to do it. But let me show you here on the KDX. The reason I love this bike so much, you can see the sight window right there. So if I tip the bike up, you'll see the oil appear in the window, and it just has a mark on the outside. And it is so much better than the way the European bikes are doing it. I don't know if it really costs them that much more money to put that into the case, but just a gripe I've always had. I had another bike like that, and I can't remember what it was, that had the same dumb screw, but it's just irritating. You can't check it. You know, if you think you're running low on oil, you have to whip out your tools, and then you're dumping oil on the side of the trail. It's just annoying, but that's the way they do it. That's kind of what we have to live with, but that's the reason I've always liked Japanese bikes more. They seem to think some things through a little better than the European bikes do at times. Make sure it's actually in there tight this time. That's not something I really want to lose and get mud down in there. But that's about it. So if you like the video, like what we're doing, want to keep watching, subscribe, like below, and that's about it. Thanks, guys.